What is going on, everybody? Drake in here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, as you can see on the screen, we're going to go over the Magic 30th Anniversary Edition. There's been a lot of news, a lot of content creators touching base on this product, but I kind of just wanted to review it and kind of go over some of the things through the lens of somebody who strictly really just plays Commander. I'm not super invested in the market, but I do want to have all the cards available for my decks. So today we're going to talk about the bad, the ugly, and even the good that this kind of product brings to the Commander community, and maybe even to some other formats based on some theories and things that I have from Magic and various games, and kind of what this means for you. Just kind of, if you're like me, you're an average Joe, you kind of have a day job, you like to play Commander on the weekends or at night with some of your friends, have a couple drinks, and you have a little bit of extra coin to spend on the game of Magic, but you want to spend it wisely and get the best bang for your buck. So we're going to kind of analyze the product from that perspective today. But as always, before we get started, quick channel pulse check, guys. We are at 344 subscribers right now. That is fantastic. I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate the support. Every time you hit the subscribe button, every time you like, every time you comment, and every time you use my links, it means the world to me. And I was actually discussing this with my girlfriend the other day, just the overwhelming support that I get from such a small channel. This is really cool for me. This is awesome. This is something I like to do in my spare time. And every time you guys support me in any of those realms, it definitely means a lot. You do have a big impact anytime you interact that way. Speaking of which, piggybacking off my last video update, I'm very close to partnership. The only thing holding me back at this moment from the approval process is subscribers. So if you're watching my channel for the first time, the second time, the third time, and you like what you see, or you just want to help somebody out, hit the subscribe button. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. That would be my goal. I'm kind of brainstorming a 1,000 subscriber contest for you guys as well. So we'll have some special things down the line once we get there. So keep hitting the buttons, keep interacting. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you every day. The next thing we're going to slide into is support. As you guys know, I have my TCG Player affiliate link. If you guys could do me a favor, if you're going to buy cards online and you don't have a local game store to support, or maybe you're not fond of your game store for pricing or for whatever reason, maybe you're too far away, or maybe you just find the convenience of ordering online, please be sure to take my link in the description, copy that into your browser, bookmark it, save it, and anytime you buy a product, whether it's sealed product, gaming supplies, these really awesome new Warhammer 40K decks, or maybe even the product we're going to talk about today, I get a little kickback on it, and it really goes into the channel, back into supporting stuff. I've already taken some of the revenue from the affiliate link, and I've gotten myself kind of a new mic here for when I do things like deck profiles and in-person videos. Anything virtual is done through my mic on my PC, but I have some better audio quality, and this is because of you guys. So this is awesome. I appreciate this. So thank you again. And like I said, it doesn't cost you any extra. All you do is order the same things we're going to order anyway, and I get a little kickback on it. And also, I like to give back to you guys as well. So I have some, like I said, larger things planned, 1,000 subscriber contest and things like that. But for the moment, I have some smaller things. So keep an eye out for some time in the video. I have another Secret Lair Arena code to give away. So keep an eye out for that. So kind of transitioning here, let's talk about the product. I know you've probably seen a lot of larger content creators kind of give you the rundown of this a couple times, so I'm going to spare you a lot of it, but let's just kind of piggyback off some things together and just breeze through this. So long story short, they're releasing the beta MTG set that came out 30 years ago. And the idea is they can reprint these cards even though they're on the reserve list because they have the special 30th anniversary gold bordered back. Now, as far as the reserve list goes, I know people have mixed opinions. I support the reserve list. I think it gives the game a little bit of validity, gives the game a little bit of coolness, and most, if not all, the cards on the reserve list aren't necessary to play the game. They're more from a collectors or like clout standpoint, but it gives the game a little bit of profile having cards that are this expensive. I personally support the reserve list. I don't actually have any position in the reserve list. I think I have one reserve list card. It's my Sliver Queen, and that's just because I play in a deck and I just wanted a copy. So there's the policy in the reserve list. They can't print reprints or something along the lines of that, or functional reprints of the cards, but this is their kind of loophole around it. So you have the black and the white of it, right? The one side is they never reprint stuff and they adhere to a T the reserve list. The other side of it is they completely break the agreement and they reprint the cards to oblivion. They have found a very nice gray area to where Wizards can reprint the cards but also maintain the integrity, on at least on their end, of the reserve list. So that's kind of what you have as far as this product available to you, and it is all of beta. So kind of going around, obviously, you have the traditional like Big Daddy Black Lotus, which everybody wants a copy of. Personally, it'd be cool to own a Lotus, and it'd be cool to own some of the Power 9, if not all the Power 9, but I can't play them in a game of Commander. So to me, they're very low on the totem pole to collect. And I would imagine most of you watching are just run-of-the-mill Commander players. You like to go to your LGS, you like to get a group of people together and just play the game. So this product alone, especially from a sealed perspective, probably doesn't have a lot of value for you guys. I could see it if you're someone who has a substantial amount of extra capital and just want to relive the experience of beta. You can't really put a price on that, right? I can't tell you what you find fun and exciting. And if you find, spending $1,000 on a product like this to relive your past, I would do the same thing. If I could spend $1,000 to relive the glory days of Yu-Gi-Oh, so to speak, I would probably do that. I was a really big Yu-Gi-Oh player, and I just lost some interest in the game as it evolved, but I cannot put a price tag on kind of reliving the great moments of kind of my childhood and my young adulthood. So again, it's not for everybody. It is a big cash grab, I would imagine. It does have kind of an unnecessary large price tag, but kind of as we go through the article here, it says the product retails for $1,000. You get 4 booster packs. Can contain all sorts of cards, all sorts of nifty tokens. But this was the part of the article that really, really stood out to me, because being a Commander player, I look for Commander playable cards, right? So from my perspective, there is some Commander playable cards peppered throughout the set of beta. A lot of them have been reprinted, things like Armageddon. They have various printings and artworks. One of the only cards in the set or cycle of cards are the dual lands. So what you're looking at on the screen is the new border and old border dual land that can appear in the 30th anniversary set, right? So if you flip it on the back, you obviously have the gold bordered back with the Lotus on it. So it says here that somewhere in this article that they're going to appear twice as frequently as any other non-dual land rare. So that means these will pop up more frequently, maybe easier to draft, or maybe just to get more in the community. But this is what's attracted me to the product. Now, am I going to go out and am I going to buy, a sealed box of this? Absolutely not. I'm going to let everybody else rip the sealed product, relive the great moments, relive beta, draft, yada, yada, whatever they want to do. And then as these pop up and as it states more frequently, hopefully more frequently than they state, the more the better, right? I want to scoop up slowly a set, and depending on the price, maybe 2 sets of these on the secondary market. Again, these are the only cards that would appeal, to me and to most players, game piece wise in the set. So something to keep an eye on. And that's really what I wanted to highlight is, yeah, the product is badly structured. Yeah, the product is probably badly priced. They could have gone around about something like this much better. But on the flip side of the coin, Commander players, despite them being gold bordered, which is a conversation you would have to have with your group prior, now you have playable Volcanic Island and playable Tundra and things like that. And there's a lot of talk going around and these being referred to as proxies, right? Wizards is just now literally selling us proxies. I don't necessarily agree with that, right? Because that's kind of saying the gold bordered cards or proxies, these are just not tournament legal. And I know somewhere in the Commander Rules Committee, they say gold border cards are illegal, but there's always the Rule 0 conversation, and there's some cards they're just really hard to obtain that you can obtain in the gold border version, and they're widely allowed. The gold bordered cards, the old ones, which we'll talk about shortly, they are widely allowed in play groups. I have yet to come across a group that's had a problem with those. So I have a little bit of a theory. I want to go into this. So obviously there's a lot of formats in Magic the Gathering. The backbone of Magic right now is obviously Commander, especially since the pandemic. Things have kind of focalized on small groups of people. But as things get older, as reserve list cards get kind of priced out, so to speak, there are formats like Legacy that become very difficult to kind of explore and play. And if you're someone like me, I'd love to play Legacy. It's just very expensive. It's much more expensive than Commander, and you get a lot less playability, in my opinion, out of it. My theory with these cards is that they put these gold bordered duels into circulation, and as they kind of get opened up in packs and in collections and thrown into people's Commander decks and stuff, you'll see the local scene adapt those into the Legacy pool almost unofficially. So, and there's reasoning behind that. Let's say your local Legacy scene gets 10 players a week, right? MTG 30th anniversary releases, 2 months down the line, you still get those 10 players, but maybe you have another 5 players that have gold bordered duels that are interested in playing. Now your local game store is saying, hey, we are going to allow cards from MTG 30th in our Legacy tournament. So now you've effectively increased your player base by 50% just by allowing gold border cards. And I could see that rule expanding maybe even further up the chain to official Wizards events. Like, hey, we're going to host a Legacy tournament. You're allowed to use the gold border dual lands just to get more people in, right? If the average Legacy 5K brings in, and I'm just using arbitrary numbers here, I don't have. Let's say the average Legacy 5K brings in, 200 people, right? The prize pool is set for 200 people, yada, yada, yada. But if just by allowing gold border dual lands, I could add another 500 people, another 1,000 people to that tournament, everybody wins. More people get to play. The tournament organizers get more people. It's a nice symbiotic relationship. So I can really see this kind of being the bridge to allowing those older formats like Legacy and maybe even Vintage to be more playable, even on an official or semi-official level. So kind of as we go here, again, my main point were the duels, and this is a nice snapshot of what they would look like. They do keep the integrity of the original artwork, which I think is interesting. I probably would have, if it were me, I would have issued new artwork, but and then as you scroll down, they also come in the retro frame, which in hindsight, if I was in charge of R&D, I probably would have avoided the retro frame just because it's a little too close to home, so to speak, with the original duels. But not only do you have the duels showing up in packs more frequently, but you also have essentially 2 shots, right? A new border and a retro border of them. So this is very interesting. I'm super excited to, potentially obtain some dual lands, for my EDH deck, for my Dragon deck, for my Sliver deck. We'll see. And next we'll go into price points. So the cheapest versions of dual lands that you can buy are going to be revised for the most part. I think you can buy like some foreign white border ones for a little bit cheaper, but just to kind of compare apples to apples here, we're going to just do revised, right? So if we deal in percentages, right, let's take, we'll do a nice round number. You got Volcanic Island here, right? Heavily played is $550. Let's go light play, right? Light play, we'll call it, $700, right? $700 light play Volcanic Island. If I can pick up, one of these new bordered Volcanic Islands in gold border for, we'll call it just under 50%. We'll call it, $200. If I could pick up a gold bordered one for $250, I would totally do that, right? That's something that I would be interested in as a player who has a little bit of extra cash to throw at the game. I'd probably buy some of these over time. But if you can get original dual lands in the new border with the new text boxes for just kind of a fraction of what they're going for now, hopefully less, right? I would love to get maybe a set of the duels for $1,000. That would be kind of cool. But, only time will tell. We'll see how frequently these are kind of printed and how Wizards implements these as often and frequently into packs. So the only other comparison that we have as far as a product and kind of being able to see how much of the value that these will make up as far as the old versus the new, the revised versus the Magic 30th, is we could kind of look at gold bordered cards of the past. Now, these are a little bit more ugly because they have the gold border on the front, but I do have some of these gold bordered cards, and I throw a black bordered trim ultra sleeve on them, and you really can't even tell the difference 90% of the time. So let's take a look at Gaia's Cradle, right? So right now you could probably buy a near mint Gaia's Cradle for roughly $1,000, right? So if we go down here, we could purchase a gold bordered Gaia's Cradle for about $200, roughly, roughly a fifth of the cost. So if history will tell us in some data, obviously the demand of the duels will be a little bit. So we'll say maybe 40%. If you could pick up a dual land in the new artwork or in the new border for 40% of what they go for in a revised edition, I would say that's not a bad trade-off, right? And to say, well, that's still expensive. Yeah, it is still expensive, but they are not necessary, as we all know. Most of us watching don't have or play with those right now. It doesn't add a huge impact to our decks, but at a good price point, they are nice to have in your collection to slot into various different decks. So that's to kind of put things in perspective as far as old gold border set, and just to kind of get our minds wrapped around what could possibly happen, and to keep things positive, right? We could sit here and bash, Wizards and their R&D and their price gouging and the flood of products all day, but let's kind of just make the best of all the product they're putting out. Quick transition here. I don't want to forget about the giveaway, so congratulations to the lucky person who gets this code. Essentially how I do these is whoever's watching the video, the first person to basically grab it, type it in, redeem it, gets it. So congratulations, you have won the Secret Lair X Street Fighter for MTG Arena. This will give you access to all the awesome Street Fighter cards. You get Ryu, you get Ken, Blanca, the whole nine. I think they give you some sleeves, but don't quote me on that. But this is awesome. Real cool addition to any of you Arena players out there. Again, I'm not a fan of Arena, so this is no use to me. So this is my way of giving back for the time being. So again, congratulations. If we go into a couple of the other gold bordered cards here, right, you have things like Yawgmoth's Will, Replenish, Sylvan Library, which actually holds quite a comparable price tag. The same with Vampire Tutor, Survival of the Fittest, right? If your play group is cool with these, right, you can get a Force of Will for $22. You can get a Volrath Stronghold, which I actually play a gold border version with a black ultra sleeve for around, 20 to 30 bucks, depending on the condition you're looking for. A $15 Ancient Tomb. Like, these are things that the community already plays, right? We're already using gold bordered cards. Now, I think what hinders gold bordered cards at the moment is just community knowledge. Like, a lot of the community doesn't really understand these and how they exist. And they say, not tournament legal and in giant letters and stuff like that as you buy them and on the back. But again, Commander is not a tournament format, and it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of, take with that what you will. But it's just kind of a nice comparison to what is out there versus what will be out there in the community. But that's really it. That's all I have for you guys. Just a quick video. I really wanted to highlight the dual land aspect of it. I think this is a great way to get some dual lands into your Commander deck. This is kind of what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to see how much of this is opened and just kind of reap the rewards of everybody opening the packs. Because, everybody opening these packs, they're hunting for the Lotuses, the Time Walks, the Time Vaults, the Moxen, and kind of last on the list of high-profile cards is the Duels, and they're supposedly supposed to appear more frequently, right? So I'm excited to pick these up off the secondary market, and if you have a little extra cash, you should too. Again, we could sit there all day and bash the product, but there is good in this, and I'm trying to bring that to light for you guys a little bit. There isn't a lot of positive feedback on this product, and it is poor. It's a piss poor design, it's piss poor execution, but to make the best of it, simplification. I'm going to get some duels for my deck, and if it permits, you should too. So that's all I have for you guys. Again, rate, comment, and subscribe. I actually had a much different video planned for you guys today. I was going to do a kind of Commander buy guide for the month of October. So looking at some cards that are recently kind of at their lows and good time and good price point to pick those up. I'll probably push that back for another week or two and do that kind of mid to late October. So stay tuned for that. Just some really cool pickups at good price points. But again, that's all I have for you guys. Be sure to subscribe. Congratulations to everyone. And use that affiliate link. I love tcgplayer.com. I actually got a nice order in today. They do really great shipping if you order through TCG Direct. They add tracking to all your orders if you order through TCG Direct. As you can see here, my order today contained like a random Balor, Elder something, Curse of Opulence, and I got the really nice promo Yuriko for my Yuriko deck. I live really close to their warehouse, so to speak, a couple hours away. So anytime I order from directly TCG Direct, I get my order within 2 days. Most sellers I'm receiving in 4 to 5 days at the highest. So again, TCG Player, take a look at my link. I really appreciate the support. Be on the lookout for my Commander Buy Guide video for the month of October. I am going to profile one of my good friends and part of my play group, his Sir Gwyn Equipment Voltron deck, which is very, very gnarly and nasty. I've gotten domed by that a couple times. And I'm working on a subscriber request video. I got a Mirim and a Karthus request, so kind of brewing both of those right now to see what would be most interesting. I think I am leaning more towards Mirim just because of the nature of it, but we'll see. So again, thank you guys for stopping in. I appreciate it, and I'm out.